of things going on over there. What do you think? What do you think? Do you think that that's what Jesus did? Did he do that? We even had a demonstration from what the class this past week about Jesus turning water into wine. But what he said before that time, he told his mother, it's not my time. But immediately, shortly thereafter, it was his time. And he was found being obedient. Now, what happens with us is that if we feel it's not our time, ain't go after. Stop right there. It's gone. It's gone. And I know I'm not the only one who has been in a situation where I know the Spirit told me to do something, and I didn't do it. And later on, the consequences in that person's life was dire. Dire consequences. You know, one thing that I've learned about life is guilt will take you up out of here. Guilt will take you out because you don't believe something about a situation. And so because we're not obedient to the Father, he can't use us. He can't use us. So here we go, tipping around here, there, and everywhere. Verse 28 says, for which of you intending to build a tower, sit up not down first and count up the cost, whether he has sufficient to finish it. Who does that? Ladies, you can imagine how you feel when you get ready to go prepare a meal and you get ready to do something and one ingredient that you need for your whatever, you don't have it. Now, you do one or two things. Either you do not fix it, or you find yourself getting up, going to the store to get it. Same thing happened with guys. If you get ready to make something and you don't have everything you need, you go get it. But before you started that project, you thought you had everything and you counted the cost. How about that with God? Did you count the cost? I mean, the most severe thing that can happen is, which is severe, is you not make it to heaven. Because what we do here determines where we're going to be eternal. That eternity is here. What we do here will determine where we're going to be. You cannot go through life doing all that you want, thinking that there are no consequences for your actions. You can't do bad and think that only good is going to come. The Bible says, a man, what? You reap what you sow. And what happens there is that whether it's bad or good, you can sow bad, but you can also sow good. So good things come back to you. So we have a tendency to think that any time something is said like that, it means a negative, it means it's bad. But you only get bad back if you did bad. God is going to reward you for your good acts. He said, faith without works is dead, and works without faith is also dead. So he requires some things of us, but those things that he requires of us, they're not too difficult, but we have to know about them. But the only way you're going to know about them is either read the word, come to some study, but it's required for you to spend some time with them. We're talking about a personal relationship. That's that cost of the discipleship. You've got to have a personal relationship. Without it, you won't get it. You won't get it. Because you don't think that you have to do anything other than maybe come to church. He wants more. He wants more. Even when it comes to our children, if the only time we saw those with young children, you know you see them all the time because you have them with you. But those of us who have adult children, if the only time we saw them was when they wanted something. After a while. Yeah. What happens after a while? They come and you say, I don't have it this time. And after a while, you don't even say anything. They come and you shut the door. I mean, that's just the fact of life. Because the only time they come to you is when they need something. Come on. And you ask them, every now and then, how about coming over? You can come over and fellowship with me. I don't mind cooking dinner. Or you can take me out to dinner every now and then. Just come and spend a little time with me. I mean, I'm your mother. Don't you love me? said years and years ago, long ago. What word? Why don't you show it? How you gonna be a good disciple if you don't want to show it? I mean, God can read your mind. Oh, most certainly He can. Yes, He can. I'm not saying He can't, but He expects for you to do some things. Why can't you do them? He wants you to show Him that you love Him like He loves you. That He gave His only begotten Son. He can't even give it out.
All right. Yeah.
And when we do give it, we're looking for something in return. We taught last week because that's what was expected of us. That was our minimum, our reasonable service.
Yeah.
That's all that was. There wasn't no extra.
Come on now.
There wasn't no extra. You didn't do nothing extra.
Right.
That was your reasonable service.
Yeah.
You know what happens to many of us, and especially here at New Hope? We have gotten out of the habit of fellowship with other folks and doing the extra.
Yeah.
So when you ask us to do anything extra, we have to pass out.
Yeah.
Today, who gonna go with the choir?
All right.
Choir. Who else gonna go? Anybody else? You gonna go by? Are you even gonna ask what the director? Because I know you do. Dick is pretty faithful like that. But what stops us? What stops us? Did we count the cost of building the house? What stopped us from going with the choir? Even if you couldn't stay but an hour, could you possibly go with us? But see, we become so complacent in our relationship that when God calls us to do our extra duty here at New Hope, we act like it's pulling our teeth. We do. So did we count that cost? Or are we selective in the cost that we want to count? Well, Lord, we have pastor's anniversary. We have vacation Bible school. We have the choir's anniversary. We have All Saints. We have Thanksgiving basket. And we do a Christmas dinner for us. That's it. That's it. That is it. And the only two things that require us to come out more than one night is pastor's anniversary and vacation Bible school. That's it. And we're comfortable with that. How do I know that? Because we ain't trying to do nothing else. How do I know? Are you trying to do anything else? We're building a house. Didn't you count the cost? Didn't you know that more was required? How are you going to have a relationship and you don't want to do anything in the relationship? You want the other person all the time to come to you. You want the other person all the time to pay for the meal. You want the person all the time to buy you what you want. And all you want to do is show up occasionally. And yet you think you're in a relationship. Now what happens when you do that in the world? It ain't working, is it? That other person got somebody else and they really ain't thinking about you no more than you think you're thinking about them. Well, we're all God's children. Just like He has given you a task to do, He's given 3 or 4 other people. And because you won't do it in your disobedience, He will give it to somebody else. We've said many a time, there are people here who have, God has given them a vision of a business. And they didn't take advantage of it. Amen. And in their disobedience, they have, yes, it was a law. And they have heard people who've gone out and they be talking to someone and they'll be telling them about the same vision they had. Amen. But He gave it to you. But you didn't want to act on it. That relationship goes 2 ways. We talked about making the deposit in the bank. God wants